Hey everyone, and welcome to Ricky's Rockin' Reviews. Today we're going to be looking at Bad Memories of Buzzard Hill by Cory Andrews. This is a collection of 8 tales of the macabre in the West, in the weird West. Now this book truly delivers on everything it sets out to do. This is horror with a Western backdrop with characters whose dialogue you can picture with the Southern drawl, real angsty and gritty. Lots of badass characters that don't take any shit from anybody. And when you mix that in with some, classic monsters who I'll let you find out who and what they are when you read the book. But when all that's put together, it's just a really cool, unique experience. This is about 150 pages. It's a skinny book, but the text absolutely fills the page, so you get a whole lot of story here. And one of the things that I really liked about it was how we have a central character. His name is Elwood. He's a cook, but he's very observant, and he has to be living in Buzzard Hill. Buzzard Hill is like the town where all the evil people somehow get funneled through. They're doing some nefarious, creepy things. And Elwood is just a normal guy, and he's keeping his wits about him and not taking shit from anyone, like I said. But he's recalling his past experiences there because at the beginning of the book, he's an old man. For lack of a better word, he's reminiscing of his past here in Buzzard Hill, the nightmares that he lived, as well as including the stories that he's heard from other people that have lived there as well. And what I really liked about it is that all the stories connect in some way or another. There are details in story number 5, for example, that pull from story number 1. And I really like when a book does that. It really rewards you for paying attention and trying to piece together what's going on. It's not just a collection of short stories that are thrown together because they have a similar theme or backdrop. All these stories tell an overarching story of Elwood and his time there at Buzzard Hill. I really like the cover. It goes for a minimalist approach, but I really like all the colors. It looks really, really nice in person. It has a matte quality. And if you can pick out what you see there, those look like zombies. And I think I'm aware of some of these books being issued with C.B. Andrews, but he's going by Cory Andrews, and he's going by Cory Andrews going forward. So if you have a CB version, or if you find a CB version, I guess that's it's going to become rare, or you can see it as a limited edition or something like that. Just in case for you fans of splatter westerns or western horror or just westerns in general, you may have read a couple of these stories before. The contest originally appeared in Hellbound Books Publishing's anthology called Anthology of Splatterpunk. And then there's also Under a Blood Moon, which appears in the anthology from Tool Fog Press called Monster Fight at the OK Corral. But the other 6 stories are real fresh. And I would like to read the chapter titles for you here just to pique your interest, because you can probably gather a couple of things from what you can see in these stories if you just look at the titles. We have The Contest, we have Cult of the White Raven, The Preacher's Ramblings, Under a Blood Moon, Witch's Brew, Ancient Soil, After Dusk at Otto's, and The First Ghost Town. Now I wanted to mention some of the highlights here, and definitely one of my favorite things is the dialogue. It really feels really authentic to what you would expect to hear in a Western. And especially when you have 2 characters conversing about what may be happening, it just really engrossed me. I was just super intrigued as to what was going to happen next. And I'd like to give you guys a little taste of some of the dialogue here. So in this scene, we have the Reverend who's preaching here in Buzzard Hill, and we have Elwood, and they're talking in a bar together. The Reverend continued, "Several years ago, I led a small group on a retreat around the very same area where I have seen these fantastic flashes of green light. I remember an odd-looking tree that grew above an entrance to one of the caves on the mountain. The tree was in the shape of an H. H standing for hell, Elwood asked, not sure if he believed it or if he was just entertaining the holy man. Possibly, he said. He finished his glass of wine and pushed it forward for a refill. Other than his bloodshot eyes, he gave no sign of inebriation. Well then, Rev, what do we do? Take a group of men up there with guns and dynamite, see what we find, douse the place in holy water, bless the mountain? I don't know, Elwood. I don't know. I think Buzzard Hill has too much of an evil force behind it for one preacher and a few good men. Look at the sin this town basks in. The murders, debauchery, greed, and the worst of all, the number of people, the number of children who go missing. There's evil behind that. Pure evil. Really cool stuff here. Cory Andrews has a talent, and I would really like to see what his next projects are. Now, I'd be remiss not to mention that somewhere in this book, I'm not going to say where, I'm not going to say who, but there is a death that happens in this book that was so well done. It's probably one of the best death scenes I've ever read in a book, ever. Not only did that scene give me everything that I thought I needed, it also gave me some things that I was not expecting, but I was so happy to get. So this book is filled with really cool moments, lots of really awesome action. I feel like there's moments in every single one of these stories where there was at least one or two jolts of action or some really unnerving things that were happening, some creepy stuff that induced a little bit of fear. And that was really cool to see, and it really kept the ball rolling, and it kept unraveling the mystery of this town. And the conclusion was epic. I really like this book. I feel like if you're a fan of Westerns, or if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of horror Westerns, of course you got to read this. Now, if you haven't read horror Westerns before, I would highly encourage you to start with this one. This is a great start. I can say that Cory is hard at work on a sequel, and I'm really excited to see where that goes. That should be ready towards the end of the year, maybe going into 2025, but that's okay. He can take his time because this is a really well-crafted book. It's structured really nicely. I like the placement of all the stories, and I had a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys check this out. Now I'm going to leave a link to the description below where you can go and buy this on Amazon. There's a Kindle version, paperback version. I believe there's also a hardback version. And I'm also going to post a link to the Goodreads because a couple other people have read this book too. Don't just take it from me. This is a great book. Now, I would really like to thank you guys for watching all the way through. And if you liked my review, and if you liked my reviews in the past or any of my other videos, I'd highly encourage you to subscribe because I would really like to reach you when I'm reading my next books. And obviously I have a lot of material to work with, so I'd really like to get a hold of you and show you my thoughts and get a conversation going. If you could put any questions down in the comments, or if you've read this book or other books that you'd like for me to read, go ahead and leave a comment. I would love to talk to you guys. Now, once again, I would really appreciate a like or a share even, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.